So the Department of Treasury finally released their regulations, not just for Bitcoin, but for all cryptocurrencies. And I have to say, my caution that I've been exercising, at this point, looking at what they've put out there, my caution makes me look ridiculous. You know why? It's very clear these guys have no idea what they're doing, and they really have no idea how to control this. Looking at what they laid out, looking at how it's a midnight law is what lawyers are calling it, which we're going to get into that here in a second, okay? This is stuff that's frowned upon. But looking at how it is laid out, it is very clear that the cryptocurrency community, the world, the technology has them on their knees. They're grasping at straws. This form of regulation does nothing to prohibit any kind of illicit bad behavior. Their only thing that they could try to do to gain any level of control is to turn this, Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies, into a financial surveillance system. That's essentially all that is happening with this regulation. We're all under surveillance. That's about it. That's a true story. That's the extent. We're going to dive into a little bit more detail about this, okay? But something I want to pull up, and I want to remind Americans that are watching this right now. We have something called the Bill of Rights. It's the first 10 amendments in our U.S. Constitution. That fourth amendment speaks against unreasonable search and seizure. This regulation that was put out, this FinCEN, if you want to call it that, boils down to a warrantless search. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I spent a lot of my evening last night and this morning consulting lawyers who know how to interpret these things and know what is wrong with it. So I am sharing with you what I have learned from them. But this whole thing right here, it really pisses me off. It's unreasonable. It's an unreasonable search and seizure. That's what this is. This is a violation of our freaking Constitution. Now, I've known for weeks this is coming. I've been tweeting about it, saying it in my videos. And again, a lot of you guys are saying, listen, you're being too far on the FUD side. You're being too bearish. And I have to agree at this point. It's embarrassing to see how bad this is. It's embarrassing to see how weak this is. Now, as I go through this, I'm going to tell you this also. It is enforceable. Okay, so I mean, enforceable in the sense that you're probably going to go rot in jail and lose your whole life? Probably not. Enforceable in the sense, okay, that there's enough gray area in this to where they could bury you with lawyer fees and paperwork? Yes, absolutely. Very possible. There's too much gray in this. There's not enough specifics in this, and they can make this a litigious nightmare for the U.S. And one other thing to consider, a lot of people watching this that are from foreign countries are saying, well, it's only in the U.S. It's only in the U.S. That's not true. Switzerland has adopted the same framework. France is adopting the same framework. The UK is rumored to adopt the same framework. There's multiple countries that have already implemented this framework. United States actually wasn't first in this. So it's just a matter of time, okay, before this ridiculous framework goes to the rest of the world. But we're going to talk about this real fast because I'm going to tell you it's weak. There are workarounds. I can't share the workarounds in this video. I'm waiting for answers from my lawyers to tell me how much I can say as far as the workarounds on this, okay? I don't want to get in trouble, okay? Because again, this regulation does have the enforceability in the aspect of where they could bury your ass with lawyer fees and paperwork. And I don't want to get caught in that. So once I get some clarification, I will share with you the workarounds. It's pretty simple stuff. All right, guys, but let's dive into this. So one of the things that keeps getting brought up about this is the KYC aspect, okay, and the reporting requirements. Under the advanced notice of proposed rulemaking, users who want to send cryptocurrencies from centralized exchanges to a private wallet would need to provide personal information about the owner of that wallet to exchanges. To put this in English, if I wanted to send you one Bitcoin from my wallet that's on Coinbase to your private wallet, I would have to KYC your wallet first, okay? And I know it sounds freaking ridiculous. I get it, but I'm just sharing with you, just humanizing this, layman terms, you know what I mean, bringing it down to 5th grade level, what this actually means. So if I want to send my crypto to you from a centralized exchange, Coinbase, Gemini, any of the above, I have to KYC your private wallet, your Ledger, Trezor, Exodus, whatever it may be, before I can send it to you. If the amount sent is greater than $10,000 one day, What happens is the exchanges actually have to report that to FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. And now, from what I understand off of the paperwork that I read over here, it has to happen within 24 hours. Now, from what I understand, okay, if I want to send you less than $3,000, that the KYC may not be applicable. But this, again, is still not 100% clear. But we know that we have a threshold of $3,000 and $10,000 as far as reporting goes and the style of reporting. This makes things complicated. It adds more steps, not just for the exchanges, but for you. Now, will this go through? Here's the issue. The way Mnuchin is putting this out, he's putting it as regulation. Okay, and again, I'm regurgitating what was shared to me by the attorneys. He's putting it out as regulation, not as law. If he was doing it as a law, he would have to be voted on. But since he's not doing it as a law, he's doing it as regulation, he can go ahead and put this bad boy out. Now, there is a public aspect, a public comment aspect of this for 15 days, completely unheard of. From what I understand, this is typically done in 2 to 3 months as far as public comment goes. And the reason why it's being so short is they're trying to execute this before the new administration makes it in. Now, something that they're trying to tout is this is closing loopholes. That's not what this is doing. This is not closing any loopholes. The level of KYC required is turning this into surveillance. That's all this is doing. That is the best they can do right now. And listen, it does get a little worse than this. That does get a little worse than this. We're going to keep diving into this, but this doesn't close loopholes. There's still loopholes that exist, and I'm going to give you one quick example. DeFi. The language that is in the actual regulatory paperwork in here, okay, I'll put a link for this down below, does not cover DeFi because it emphasizes entities. DeFi, where's the entity? What is the entity if I was going, if somebody from if a platform, a DeFi platform was sending me crypto? That's not an entity. It's not even centralized. The language is very, 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 how can I say, missing certain elements of our technology. DeFi is not centralized. There's no central entity. It's not classified technically as any kind of financial entity. You get what I'm saying? So there is loopholes that still exist that are not addressed here. This is garbage. This is an embarrassment. This is so irritating. But let's continue. Now, in this paperwork right here, okay, in the actual proposal here, the regulatory paperwork, there is this section in there. U.S. authorities have found that malign actors are increasingly using CBC cryptocurrency to facilitate international terrorist financing, weapons proliferation, sanction evasion, and transnational money laundering, as well as to buy and sell controlled substances, stolen and fraudulent identification documents, and access devices, counterfeit goods, malware, and other computer hacking tools, firearms, and toxic chemicals. You know what I find funny about this? What I find most entertaining about this? Do you know the currency of crime? Do you know what it actually is? You don't know? It's USD. The US dollar is the preferred currency of crime. True story. Go to any border in any country. Okay, actually, let's keep it simple because our border is real popular in the United States. U.S.-Mexico border. Do you know what they're looking for when at the U.S.-Mexico border? Aside from drugs, guns, prostitutes, and people trying to sneak across, looking for cash, looking for U.S. dollars. They're not looking for Bitcoin. Drugs aren't bought and sold in Bitcoin. They're looking for cash, cold, hard cash. Track that. Track cash. You get what I'm saying? That is extremely difficult to track. That's extremely difficult to pin down. It is the currency of crime. This right here is, I can't think of a better way to say it. This is bullshit. That's all this is bullshit reasoning to try to justify sloppy ass regulation. Sloppy ass regulation. But let's continue. Now, this is where things get really interesting, okay? This is where it really gets interesting. So at the time, Financial Task Force's guidelines suggested that individual crypto wallets could be designated VAS, okay? Yes, your individual crypto wallets could be designated as a VAS. And to put that in layman's terms, VAS is a virtual asset service provider. Yes, virtual asset service provider. According to the language, okay, again, the language that's in here, it's so freaking gray, so open-ended. And again, I'm regurgitating what a lawyer has told me, okay, that They can interpret our wallets as VAS, requiring each and every one of us to KYC, register, or do more. Now, the day that this actually goes into effect, okay, I actually put a tweet out saying that the day this goes into effect, a lot of us will be criminals, or we'll all be criminals. Let me correct that statement. Some jurisdictions here in the United States, depending on where you live, California, New York, Chicago, on certain areas, that terminology, VASP, is a dangerous terminology to where if you hold cryptocurrencies the day this goes live and your wallets are not registered, okay, or licensed, true story, depending on where you live here in the United States, okay, let me look at you as I say this, depending on where you live, okay, you could be a criminal. You could be breaking the damn law the moment this goes live, depending on where you live. Now, you have to take the time. It's your responsibility, I guess, to go and look up your local laws to see, as a VAS, what laws, what kind of registration, insurances, and licenses you need to be carrying to be a VAS. True story. This is very, very inconvenient. Now, question, is it enforceable? It is. It's very gray. It is very gray. How are they going to prove it? How are they going to go after you? That's a whole different story. But the thing is, if this were to go to court, okay, and this is something, again, shared with me by the attorneys I've been talking to about this. If this were to go to court, it would be very expensive for you. You would be buried in paperwork. Would a judge rule against you? Midnight laws are frowned upon typically by our judicial system, okay? Typically, this is what's been told to me. I'm not the lawyer. So, that being said, it could be a very expensive process to go through, a very pain in the dick process to go through, but it can happen to you. And it gets more complicated. So anytime, check this out, anytime a VAS customer sends 10,000 or more in crypto to a self-hosted wallet in a single day, their VAS would be required to verify their identity, collect the identity of their counterparty, and file a report with the FinCEN under Treasury's proposed rules. I know many people that have far more than $10,000 of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in their wallets. I know lots of people on a daily basis who send far more than $10,000 from their crypto wallets all the time. I know people that from DeFi, okay, their DeFi, their rewards are far more than $10,000 in a day. There are people that are like that. This is so... I hate to say it. I hate saying this word, but it's stupid. This is really, really stupid. It's very inconvenient. But again, the public comment period that we're supposed to have, only for weeks? For weeks. It's unheard of. It's typically been 2 to 3 months is what we usually see. And the one element that is going to impact the most, though, especially for the average person, and again, I hope I can share the workarounds. I'm waiting for answers on this if I can share the workarounds. But the biggest pain in the nuts that you are going to experience with this, I hate to say it, when it goes live, because there's nothing that can stop Mnuchin from doing this. Nothing that can stop him from putting this live and saying this is new regulatory framework, making it live, because it's not a law, but it gets enforced like a law, which is real freaking shitty. But the biggest pain about this is if you want to cash out. Yeah, trust me. If you look at the framework on this, that's the part that's really going to be irritating if you want to cash out. So if you want to send your crypto to Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, anywhere like that to cash out your crypto, that's where things can get very tricky. That is where all of us can get caught in a serious regulatory pinch. Again, is it going to be something that puts you in jail? Is it going to be something that can be super, I don't know, life-changing and dramatic? I mean, it's going to be very freaking expensive. You get what I'm saying? The non-compliance for this is going to be very expensive. My favorite thing that this has been called, it's by Crypto Briefing, surveillance bill on crypto wallets. That is what this is. It's a surveillance bill. Bottom line, surveillance. That's what this is. What this is it turns your crypto assets, your whole crypto ecosystem into a financial surveillance system. Now, this guy here, Jake Travinsky, actually did a good job breaking a lot of this stuff down. And he even says it. Regular order calls for an agency to accept public comment for at least 60 days for significant rules. It can be longer. FinCEN is giving 15 at the end of December with 1 month left before president is sworn in. There's a name for this, midnight rulemaking. So this is the thing that I've heard multiple lawyers say that is not popular, that the judicial system does not like, and very, very seldom ever rules in favor for, as far as if actually something makes it to court. So, I mean, again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just sharing what was told to me. But this is where it gets really gross. He made this comment right here. Make no mistake, currency transaction reports, the CTR, are a form of warrantless search and seizure of private financial records. That's where we're at now in the cryptocurrency space. And I know for a long time I've been saying, listen, regulation's coming. Regulation's coming. And it's ugly the way this is. I mean, it's not terrible. It could be a lot worse. It just could be very freaking expensive and inconvenient. That's the truth. Expensive and inconvenient. And there's nothing stopping Mnuchin from putting this into effect. And the rest of the world is already using this framework. So it's just a matter of time. So the thing is, though, we as the people, as the freaking people, should be raising serious hell about this. We shouldn't be laying down and accepting this. If you're an American, go check out your Fourth Amendment right. Most people, they don't even know your own rights. You have this thing called the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments of the Constitution that gives you plenty of freedom. The Fourth Amendment, go take a quick Google search. It prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures. Specific language, if you're a U.S. citizen, yet you need to make sure you understand. This is the actual text of it. The right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Make sure you really ingrain that, if you're a U.S. citizen, into your mind. And I'm sure most of you watching from other foreign countries have a constitution. You have something similar to the Bill of Rights. You have something that protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. You have to. I mean, if not, any law enforcement or government agent can kick your door in and take what they want. I guarantee every country has some form of protection from this. This is the part about it that is the ugliest. We are under surveillance. And I've been saying, and I was wrong about something. I thought it was going to be the Democratic Party that would do that. I thought it was because they did every other piece of technology got turned into surveillance. But the Republican Party actually turned cryptocurrency into a tool for surveillance. A surveillance freaking tool, guys. This is ugly. There's workarounds, absolute workarounds. Now, the last thing we need to talk about is market reaction. The result of FinCEN coming out is the price of Bitcoin is booming today. That is the result. But here is what I don't know, and I can't find clear answers on, and maybe you guys can help me out with this. The reaction we're seeing here, is it institutional? And the reason I'm asking if it's institutional and those bigger whales is because traditionally when they trade in the normal markets, if something crazy happens over the weekend, it doesn't get reflected until Monday. The reason is they trade from bell to bell. Now there's forecasting and so on and so forth. But what we're seeing right now in the market, is this a result of crypto OGs, the crypto community saying, oh my God, this is pathetic. What kind of crappy freaking regulation is this? And a lot of other people see this probably the same way I do, and I've already discovered the loopholes. I mean, there's true blue loopholes to tell this thing to kiss your ass. But my question is, this price action, is this institutional? Or are we going to see a delayed reaction from the institutions as far as these new regulations go? I'm actually asking you guys that because the information to figure this out is not easily, I can't find it. I can't find it. So we need to find out, do they only trade their Bitcoin from bell to bell, right? Or are they as flexible as us and they're trading 24/7, 365? So, yeah, I want to know what you guys think. Is this what we're seeing, institutional reaction, or is it our reaction? And on Monday, what should we expect from, when the bell opens? When the bell starts ringing in Wall Street and the institution starts trading, what do you guys think is going to happen to the price? My hunch, because of how weak this is we should see the price of Bitcoin continue to go up. Because there's nothing to really be scared of here. Most of the people that are on Wall Street can afford to pay the cost of doing business, you know what I mean, based off those regs, and they already comply with those regs. I just don't see this as something that's going to scare them away. But again, I could be completely wrong, and the price of Bitcoin can tank Monday. So tell me your thoughts, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Peace out.